Here we are, Lee.
Last one.
Last one, last hoorah for 2019. Lee and I just got back from Cookville. I got back this morning. I think you rode in last night late, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
But we had a great time down there, Lee. We met a lot of really cool folks, a lot of Coach T folks that we've communicated with online, but we actually got to put a face with a name now, and I had a really good time up there.
I did too. I enjoyed the camaraderie and getting to talk to the coaches that are playing in the games and coaches that are there just watching the games and some fans. Got to meet a lady from Elizabeth, and that's a friend of my wife's come
Uh-huh.
up, and several other people from Peabody that I know that were around, and just enjoy the weekend,
You're
man.
like the little social bug out there, man. If I can't find you around the field, I look over in that coach's corner, and you got one of the coaches hemmed up, giving him like an interview off camera. And it's
Yeah.
but you enjoy that part, I think, much as anything, don't you?
Mhm.
But we had a great time up there. The games, Lee, weren't as close as I expected. I thought we'd have a lot of close games this year.
Man, me too. You know, Most of them, I think, Mike, to be quite honest with you, in the first half, you pretty much knew who was going to win that ball
Yeah.
game, maybe.
I'd say 1A and 2A, that was probably the only games, I think. That was the only two games won by the west side of the bracket. The only two games that were, still in question late. I guess you could say Springfield was because they were only down two scores at the half, but totally dominated, and we'll get to that game shortly. But I was really shocked, man. I thought a lot of those games would be a lot closer than what they were.
Especially the 6A.
Yeah,
I was a little shocked at that.
yeah. Well, Lee, let's talk about the 1A, man. That was the first game. We'll do these in chronological. Is that the right word? Chronological?
Well,
That's a big word for me. Isn't that the order in which they happened?
yeah, I
That's the
guess.
correct word.
Yeah.
Okay. I ain't that smart, man. I want to make sure
We're going to
I
go
don't
one.
want to misspeak here.
We'll do 1, 3, and 5 since
Yeah,
that was on a
yeah,
Friday.
yeah. Friday games, and then we'll do the Saturday games. Friday game, man, Lake County. We were on Greenback all year, and I was a little shocked. I'd heard Lake County was dominating up front, man, but them dudes, they can move a pile, can't they?
Man, I was very impressed.
I was too.
I was impressed with the style of play they had. I was impressed with their character. Uh, and like you said, their size was unbelievable for a 1A squad.
Hmm. Tanner Schneider, I hadn't had a chance to see him, Mr. Football candidate this year, but hey, to me, man, if there was anybody in that particular game that really caught my eye, and that was Tanner, man. He had a big game for Lake County, and really impressed with that kid.
Kind of a throwback kid too. He plays quarterback, and then you turn around and look at on defense, and he's down there lying down one play and out on the end one play. And I thought about the coolest thing was, just off the wall stuff I was paying attention to was when he was getting that trophy, player of the game, and he got that trophy, and he had blood dripping off his
That was awesome,
elbow.
wasn't it?
You could just tell he'd give everything he had, and it was but it was a very good game, very good game.
Isaiah Matheny had a big game for him, 175 receiving yards, and of course we mentioned Snyder, 138 yards on the ground, two TDs, threw for 266 yards, another two TDs. So big game for him. I thought Coach's sons, Caden and what's
Campbell,
the big guy
Campbell,
Campbell.
bulldozer man.
He's the one you don't see. He's a lineman, but that's the dude that holds them together right there, man. He had a big game for him. He plays center for him, and he's on the D line. But he's the guy you don't see it in the stats a lot, but he's a difference maker up front for him.
Absolutely, and time of possession was huge in that game. But if you look down through the stats, one thing that stuck out to me is in the all-purpose yards. Lake County had three kids with 170 plus all-purpose yards.
And looking at the other side, Lee, Greenback. Now, if I had told you going into this game, Holden Willis would throw for more yardage than he had receiving, you would have thought I was crazy, wouldn't
Yeah, I think some of that was Carnes was running. Lake County did put a lot of pressure
you?
on it.
Yeah.
Could not get the run game established.
Hmm.
But hopefully Willis is okay. He went out with an injury there late.
Yeah.
And that, that's huge. But he's a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal player, great kid.
He is, Lee.
You could see, that out there on the field. I mean, he's a man. But I think Lake County just came in with a good game plan and stuck with it.
Yeah, I do too. It's like you said, I think, and we said this, whoever wins the battle up front, and both of these teams are for our 1A programs, both of these teams are very huge up front, but Lake County, they're just nasty, man. They're bulldozers up front, and I think they really wore down. And we'll play that interview with Coach Puckett here in a minute, but I think they run like the last 17 plays of the game, he called the same play, and he'll say that, Lee, but pretty impressive.
Yeah, like I said, I was very impressed with them.
Let's hear what Coach Greg Ryan had to say about the game, Lee. Mike Molder, Friday main event with Coach Ryan. Coach, thoughts on the game?
We didn't win, so I'm not happy. A lot of credit to Lake County. I'm sure they're going into the ball game. Their thoughts were they would be more physical than us, and I'll be honest with you, they probably were. In the first half, early in the first half, we had some protection issues. It wasn't nothing we hadn't seen. It's just we had communication issues. Felt like towards late in the second quarter we got those fixed, and then I feel like in the second half we just got beat physically one-on-one. So anytime that happens, it's not going to be a good night, especially when you got to throw it like we do. Super proud of the season. I told the guys at the end of the day, remember the journey and not the day. This senior class means a lot to me, and it's been a great 4 years.
Coach is up 23-22 there going into the fourth quarter. A couple of big turnovers. Talk about those for a minute.
Yeah, probably bad play calls, on my part. Carnes is going to be very upset. There's no doubt. But let me tell you something. He had pressure running for his life the whole ball game. Maybe a couple bad throws and where he didn't see a guy a time or two. But at the end of the day, it's my job to have them ready. And it's a very good possibility that I didn't do a great job today. So I take all the blame, obviously, and just very proud of the boys on how the season went.
Willis injured there at the end of the game. How's he now?
You'll have to ask him. I think he's got a severely high ankle sprain, but you'll have to ask him. I really don't know.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Lee, that was Coach Greg Ryan, and doing what all good coaches do. He's taking a lot of blame for that loss, but I don't think they called a bad game. I thought it just wasn't a good matchup for him, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, just was, like you said, it was a matchup problem. I mean, they just had trouble keeping, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Lake County's defense, man, they put a lot of heat on Carnes, and and you can expect that. I mean, I don't care how good a quarterback you are. You get down a couple scores, sometimes you press.
Yeah.
They're getting a little pressure on you, and get you out of your rhythm a little bit. And you got to do some, like Coach Ryan, you talked about a little bit with us. Got to do some things maybe you're not comfortable doing.
Right.
And they got into that situation, but hey man, they're in the finals.
It was a hard fought game. Two really good football teams right there, Lee. Here's what Coach Puckett had to say about the game after their victory. Mike Molder, Friday main event here with Coach Puckett. Coach, a big game, man. What's your thoughts?
Obviously, my thoughts are we're happy we won. It was a very good game, very close throughout, and we made some plays there at the end and found something to go offensively and started banging them, and we called the same play 17 times in a row at the end of the game. About the last 5, 6, 7 times, our kids were telling them where the ball was coming, and they couldn't stop it, and that's football.
Well, I know you're proud as a coach, but you got to be equally as proud as a dad. 23-22, fourth quarter. They're about to go in for a go-ahead score. Number 12 comes up with a big interception.
I'm unbelievably proud. I mean, I got 33 kids. Just 2 of them happen to be named Puckett, but both those Puckett boys are pretty good players, and I'm darn proud of them.
Coach, you and I spoke before the game, and it kind of played out the way you and I thought it would. The time of possession heavy in your favor, and I felt like up front you guys just manhandled.
Well, we went through a period there where we struggled, and we finally found what we needed to be doing, and we stuck with it late. But hats off to Greenback. They stood up really tough up front there for a long time. We finally got them wore down, and had our way with them a little bit late.
Congratulations, Coach. Go enjoy this.
Thank you, sir.
And Lee, it was thinking back on it, it was a tight game there, and that interception that the younger Puckett had there early in the fourth quarter. That to me, that was the changing moment of the game.
Yeah, it was a momentum swing.
It was huge. I mean, Greenback was sitting there ready to go in with a go-ahead touchdown, and I believe it was first and goal, Lee, if I remember right.
Possibly could have been up 9.
Exactly. Yeah, they were up 1 at that point in time, and who knows what happens if they push that one in right there. So big play for Caden Puckett on that interception.
Yep.
So, but like I said, it was a pretty even game. But I think the guy, again, we talked about it at first of the show, the guy that I really became a fan of. I love this kid. And there's a video we floated out there of him yanking off his game jersey after the game and giving it to a special needs kid up in the stands. And that, that really says all you need to hear about what type of kid, what type of player Tanner Schneider is. And we caught up with him after the game, Lee, and this is what he had to say. Mike Molder here, Friday main event. Tanner Schneider, MVP of the Blue Cross Bowl. What's it like, brother?
I mean, it means everything for my team. MVP was nothing, man. Winning that gold ball meant everything to me.
I had an old rascal over here before the game started. He's giving me a hard time about not picking you guys last week. Come up at halftime and turned out as your dad. I guess you're pretty happy for him, right?
Yeah. Well, we're always the underdogs. I don't like being picked. I like coming in underdog. We were underdogs this game.
Well, I did you a favor then, right?
Yeah, you did me a favor. You do. It just motivates us more. We're a small town, small community, and we just love being underdogs.
Hey, talk about that interception, man. I think the ball may have been tipped. You ran it in for the go-ahead touchdown. Big play for you guys.
Yeah, he kind of. I don't know if it was tipped or what, but it kind of went right in my arms, and I knew as soon as I got it, wasn't nobody tackling me on the field.
Man, you play with a lot of grit, a lot of heart. Lee and I, man, we really love watching you guys. Good luck. What's your plans after you leave high school?
I plan to go to UTM, play some football.
UTM?
Yes, sir.
What are they recruiting for?
Tight end.
Tight end.
Yes, sir.
Well, congrats, man. Go enjoy this with your team.
Thank you.
Lee, after I got the ball, wasn't nobody going to tackle me. You got to love that, don't you?
Well, I think he was right.
He was right.
He was a pretty determined young man there in the fourth quarter, especially.
Yeah. And I didn't know, but the guy that was giving me such a hard time at the start when we first got there, he was picking at me because I hadn't been picking them to win games. I didn't realize that was his dad, but he's a good old fella. I like him.
Oh, yeah, he was a good dude, man.
He was the one. He actually invited me into the locker room there, Lee. That's the first time in all the years we've been going to Cookville that I got invited into the locker room for the pregame speech. And Coach Puckett, they had he was a former GM of the New York Giants. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name, but he did the pregame speech, and that was great, man. That was a good experience. I'll never forget that. So,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, enjoyed it, man. Well, that's kind of the wrap up of 1A, Lee. A close game, probably a little closer than what the final score indicated. Like I say, it was still in jeopardy there in the fourth quarter as to who was going to pull it out. But in the end, I think up front, Lake County just the more dominant team.
Yeah, you could see them pulling away late.
All right, Lee. Well, let's go ahead and move over into Class 2A. And Class 2A was a game that you and I, if there was any classification that we was going to go chronological.
Yeah, you want to go 3?
I want to go 3, man. Keep me straight here, Lee Teat.
Let's go 3A.
3A, and that was another dominating performance by the Alcoa Tornadoes. And I don't think anybody in the state expected any different out of this one. Did you?
Man, I didn't see Pearl-Cohn getting blanked.
Yeah.
Because they had a brutal schedule.
Right.
Pearl had, and they played some quality opponents, man. And I kind of thought, I thought Alcoa would win because they've been there so many times. It's nothing new to them. It's like a second home field to them.
Right.
But I thought Pearl might have athletically, they could match up a little bit. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. Alcoa's defense, that's, buddy. That's ridiculous.
For real, aren't
man, they got with it.
Yeah, I was really impressed with them defensively. They jumped after that. What was it 27-0 lead there, Lee at the half, and I think they kind of called the dogs off.
They did. I think Coach Rankin just pulled the air out from under it and just said, just 3 and outs. Grind it out, keep the clock rolling. and let's get out of here.
Yeah, Sam Walton, pretty good day. Managed the ball. Of course, Coach Rankin will talk about that later. Didn't have a lot of passing yardage, but he didn't need a lot. He had 104 yards rushing, Lee. And then Ahmad Sankey, he had a big game for him as well on the ground, 98 yards. He had a TD. Walton had a TD. Blankenship also accounted for a TD in the rushing, and really that's all they needed. They didn't need a lot of points to win this game,
No.
with that defense. But flip side of that, Martina Owens gets injured there late in the game.
Dislocation, they said, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Of an ankle.
Right, exactly.
Pretty rough. That's
I
pretty
was
rough.
I was there, man. It looked nasty. I was on the sideline exactly where it happened at, it looked pretty bad. But hopefully everything will be all right with him. He's a younger kid. I think he'll be back next year, right? Isn't he a junior? And I'm thinking
Maybe, I think so.
I think he's a junior. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he is. I think he was a difference this year for the Firebirds.
He was, definitely was.
Yeah.
You can tell he can play. He can play.
Exactly. But there wasn't any surprise here other than the margin of victory. I think most people thought, Pearl-Cohn would at least stick with them in the first half, and it was just a complete opposite. It was total domination by Alcoa. But we did provide a little bit of motivation for Coach Brunetti apparently this year. Coach Brunetti had never been on our show before. I don't know why. I just hadn't been able to get in touch with him, but I will be getting in touch with him in the future, Lee, because we enjoyed that interview with him, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Here's what he had to say following that loss to Alcoa. Mike Molder, Friday main event. Coach Brunetti, thoughts on the game, buddy? Wait a minute, what are you laughing about?
My two guys. My two guys at the beginning of the year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all said, y'all had me way down there. Way down there.
Oh, we was your motivation, huh?
I tell myself every week, remember whoever they put us at the beginning of the year.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry, Coach. You proved us wrong. There you go. What do you think about the game, man? I mean, I know it was a tough loss, but overall, kids played hard.
I call them, man, who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that they did a good job executing. They're very physical front, a lot bigger, stronger than us. Done. That's your hot dog. Let me get the interview done. I'm going to talk to you, all right? Hold up a minute. All right. I think that execution, body on body. They get a good job of body on body. They're big and heavy and strong. They do a good job of come up blocking. So they get to the linebacker, setting you off, and they turn you out 25, 10, 5, 25. You know what I'm saying? And they wear you down. They wear you down. You make adjustments. But they physical with us first half.
Well, the good thing about it is, Coach, you're pretty young. Most of these kids are coming back next year. Pretty excited about next year.
Group, only the seniors experienced the actual semifinals, and they've been there more times. These sophomores, juniors ain't really, especially sophomores. We got a lot of freshmen too. We started freshmen at guard, and they ain't not seen this. It's an eye opener.
Right.
You go back next time you come back, you realize you got to step up. You got to what? You got to come play. You got to play all the time. I think they were consistent, physically whooping us up front. Second half, I thought the kids, I challenged them. I appreciate they came back. They played hard.
Yes, sir.
I can live with a score like that. I can't live going on 50-something nothing. I told them, I said, I refuse to leave the locker room getting blowed by 40 or 50 points.
Right.
That's not, I swear they gave me, they swear on me that they going to give it all they had.
Right.
And they did. That's all I can ask.
What about Owens? Is he okay?
I think he dislocated the ankle. He got it right back in place.
Okay.
I don't think he didn't tell knee. I don't think he really broke anything, but he got it. He popped right back in place.
Okay, good.
So that was good.
Coach, next year, where you want to start you out at?
At the bottom.
Bottom. We appreciate you, Coach.
No, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Well, Lee, you could tell he found that pretty entertaining. But I was shocked, man. There's so many coaches that we don't realize watch our show, and so that actually made me feel pretty good that he kept up, and I guess it was a little motivation for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, that's Coach Brunetti's had a couple teams there since he's been at Pearl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he runs into Alcoa every year. But like you said, they're young. It's at the good spots.
Yeah.
I think they'll make a good playoff run again next year. I don't see any let up. Just like he said, I think Alcoa, man, they're just too big, too fast, too strong. Coach Nix, defensive coordinator over there at Alcoa, probably not going to find a better one standing on the sideline.
Yeah.
It takes away everything you want to do, and But, hats off to Pearl coming out in the second half. Like I said, didn't give up any points in the second half. I think maybe, Alcoa kind of called maybe a little tighter of a game in the second half.
Probably, yeah.
But hats off to the kids from Pearl. Come out and the second half played a little bit better and went even.
Total yardage league, 357 for Alcoa, 105 for Pearl Cone. I think they they did. I believe they had 70 net yards rushing. And they like to run the ball. But getting back to what Coach Bernetti was saying, he kind of giving us a hard time. But if you look, Lee, over the last 2 or 3 years, and we talked about this, in our last 2 or 3 shows, they get knocked out by Covington 2 years ago when we had them picked to go
That's
to
right.
Cookeville that year. We had them picked the last year, and they get knocked out by Stratford. So, Coach Bernetti, we give you a shot, buddy. So that's the reason why we had you lower, but you proved us wrong. So, give us a little bit of credit here for.
Now, on the flip side of this, the dangerous thing about this is Alcoa had 2 seniors on defense.
Yeah, we may see a rematch next year, Lee.
Man.
Both of these teams very young, man. There's very few seniors on either side of the ball. So,
they're just a juggernaut in 3A. They gave Maryville all they wanted in the regular season. Played Blackman, beat them. Nobody can say that Coach Rankin's not playing up through the regular season. He's played a 6A, a 6A, a 6A, a 4A. Then he went on, in the semifinals, Loudon had been boat racing everybody. He holds them to 0 points, beats them 56-0.
Yeah, but I agree with you kind of, Lee. They do play up during the regular season, and I would like to see them play up in classification. I think, it's time, and I've heard a lot of other people say this. They should move up, I think, to 5A, and they'd probably be the favorite in 5A. But, beating teams so soundly, I guess I understand it. Championships are awesome. They're cool. Who doesn't want one? But at some point in time, I think you got to say, hey, we're just that good and move up.
Well, they know they're that good. I think the issue, too, you got to think about is, that's not only the coach's decision, that's the administration.
True. And I think if it was Rankin, he probably would.
Yeah, that's the AD that gets involved in that because it could affect your other sports at your school, depending on how you handle that situation. There's a lot more that goes into it than just football.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't see him during the regular season. He's not ducking. He's playing guys. He's going up.
I agree.
So I can't say that.
And that may be helping him in the postseason.
It is helping him. Definitely
playing up.
He knows what he has, and then like I heard him say before, if you want to play, I'll play in a phone booth. He doesn't. That's not. He's not worried about all that. So I think a lot of those decisions come from other entities.
Right. You're probably right about that. But just from a personal,
from a fan's perspective.
Yes, I want to see a competitive 3A game. Now Covington was competitive with them last year, but I thought Covington. Then we told Kirby this, and we've told Wheeler this. I thought it was an absolutely perfect game plan to keep that game close because I don't think from a man-on-man, an athlete versus athlete standpoint, Covington had any shot of being, or he shouldn't have been in that game.
No.
But it was a remarkably good planned game for Covington. The only reason why that game was close last year.
That's right.
All right, Lee, you want to hear what the man, the 439 career wins, was it 16? I think
that was his 16th.
His 16th.
I think maybe Alcoa's 18th.
I think that's right, man. This guy, he's setting records that'll never be touched, in my opinion.
Unbelievable.
I told you I think Ingle Martin may be the only guy, and that's if he coaches forever, that has a shot at Gary Rankin's overall win total. And I think the world of Coach Martin. I think he's a good one. All right, well, let's hear what Coach Rankin had to say, and you probably get a kick out of part of this interview. Mike Molder, Friday Night Event here with Coach Rankin. Coach, big win for you guys. I think number 18 for Alcoa. Give me a rundown of what you thought.
Well, I thought we played extremely well the first half, about as good as we could. We were intense, physical. Our defensive coaches did another great job. There's just not I don't think there's a staff in the state that puts a game plan together better than our defensive coaches.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. 10 shutouts. Did you expect to run through Pearl Cone as easy as what you did?
Nobody shuts out Pearl Cone. Nobody. We moved the ball pretty good. You know, we sat down a little bit the second half, and that was part of my fault. But the first half, we moved the ball, made some timely calls, and everything went our way.
Cam Burden had a big game for you guys. Talk about him for a minute.
Well, Cam's a great kid. Started out at safety. We moved him down a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage where he needs to be, and he made a lot of plays.
What led to that move?
Pardon?
Why did you move him up?
Too much eating. Got big. Just got too big, and he's still going to get bigger. He's a big bone kid, and that's probably where he's going to play in college. So he sort of grew out of the position back there.
Where does this team rank as far as just, all of the Alcoa teams that you've coached?
Well, it's hard to say. It's a good one, there's no doubt. It was a different team. There was a lot of characters, a lot of wild horses we had to reel in from time to time, but when it came time to play, they really played their butts off.
Coach,
is this the best defense that you've ever put on the field?
No.
you want to elaborate?
1994 Riverdale.
How about at Alcoa?
By stats, it looks like it. I would say so. By stats, it looks like it's the best team that defensive team we put on the field.
How close is this team to 94 Riverdale?
How close?
Yeah.
From Alcoa to Riverdale, it's about 243 miles.
What made that defense so good?
Well, we had 5 or 6 SEC players. Our whole secondary was SEC players. We had 9 or 10 shutouts. We went 52 quarters without giving up a score. So it was just a great defense, and this is a great defense too.
Coach, I thought Sam had a good game.
Sam had a great game.
Managed the game well.
Managed the game well. I don't think we had any turnovers, and that was the key. It's been one of our keys, and every time we come down there is not turning the ball over. I've been here 17 or 18 times, and we've not turned it over but about 7 times total. So if you protect the ball in these games, you got a chance.
How did he do in the read option?
How did he do?
Yeah.
We weren't necessarily reading it. He did good. He hit where he's supposed to hit and got where he's supposed to hit.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
How'd he do in the read option, Lee?
We wasn't running the read option.
You love that nozzle media, don't you?
Lord, I'm like, what?
Yeah, you notice I walked off, but they got into that.
That 243-mile comment got me, though. I was dying. That's hilarious.
You know that he does that he gets a kick out of making media look bad for some reason, which, I kind of get a kick out of it,
Yeah,
too.
me too. It was pretty funny.
But he's always been good to us.
Yes, he has.
We anytime we call him and ask him to come on with us, he does. He's always very, very gracious with his comments to us. He don't rip us too bad, and we appreciate that.
Well, the thing about it is, when you talk to Coach Rankin, it's just his nature is you got to have your ducks in a row.
That's
when
right.
you're talking to him, you better know what you're talking about.
Yep.
You know, otherwise he's gonna call you out.
Yep, and that's kind of what he did Friday, I guess it was.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Well, Lee, let's move on down to the night game for Friday night, and this was a game going in. I didn't really have a clue. I thought the way Summit was playing, they could hang with Central, and the reason why, if you remember, Lee, Central started out 8 straight wins, and then they had 2 losses, and I think we picked them to lose twice in the. I think we did anyway in the playoffs.
I think I picked against them in the South Doyle.
South Doyle, yeah, and then I think West. We picked West to beat them, and then we had Powell going. I think we had Powell coming out of that side, didn't we?
We did.
And then, West actually knocked Powell off, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then they knocked Central. Is that correct?
Central, not West off.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, what I'm getting at is we didn't think Central was going to come out again this year, but Coach Rosser, man, he does a heck of a job over at Central.
3 times in 4 years.
That they've been to the finals and winning 2 of them, and then the one time that they weren't, got knocked out in the semifinals.
That's right.
Heck of a run for those guys. But if you look at the other side of that, Lee, Summit beat a Shelbyville team that I thought was going to go.
Well, like you said, when Summit beat Shelbyville, I thought, well, they're going to be able to play with anybody.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because I thought Shelbyville was that good. I really did. I thought Shelbyville was that good. I thought I had Shelbyville, after they got on that roll in the playoffs, I had them sitting in the finals.
Me too. And then especially when Henry County went out, That kind of pay. And I'm sure for Coach Palmer and a lot of those Shelbyville people, man, it's heart wrenching knowing you were that close. They beat Summit pretty good the first time they played them, and they jumped out 12-0 on them in that quarterfinal round. So you were good enough to be there. So that's tough. But yeah, I'm getting off topic here. Summit, Lee. I said this on the radio interview I did Saturday. I thought, Central, we just talked about Central being there 3 out of the last 4 years. You looked over at those 4 captains as they lined up for that coin toss, and, they were chewing gum, chilled, just no pressure whatsoever. And then you looked over at those Summit kids, and it was kind of like a deer in the headlight. They just they were really, in awe of the whole surrounding, the whole situation. And you would expect that. I mean, Summit's never been anywhere near that far.
Well, they've only been in existence, what?
9
years.
9 years, exactly. And
the school. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Oh, it's huge.
Unbelievable.
It's huge, no doubt. And I think,
excuse me.
I think Coleman's been there 5 of those years, Lee. I think this is his 5th year. So he done a heck of a coaching job, him and that staff, of getting those kids there. And they got a lot of talent on that team. They got a lot of young talent. Those Wade kids, Keaton and what's the
Destin.
Yeah, Destin. I'm sorry. They're back. They're sophomores, man. They're going to be leading this team next year. So watch out for Summit, man.
Man, if I think, like you said, I think the difference was not Central's been there, 3 out of the last 4 years. Excuse me. Sorry about that, man.
Sorry.
But if you look at the stats lines, total offensive plays, 56 for Summit, 58 for Knox Central. You look at first downs, it's real close. Yards gained, real close. Total offensive yards, I think Summit had 269, Central had 257.
Right.
I mean, so right down the stat line, it's an even ball game. I think the difference was Knox Central made some plays when they needed to make plays, and the stage was – this was just another game to them, I guess, per se.
Summit led time of possession. I mean, everywhere down the stats, you're right, Lee. It was everything said this was an even game.
Except the scoreboard.
Yeah, 30-7 was the final in that one. But Summit, I think what really hurt them, Lee, they drove the ball inside. I want to say inside the 10-yard. I know it was in the red zone twice there in the first half.
Didn't get a score.
Had a fumble, and they had a interception in the end zone. That was from like the 7-yard line. So it's tough to come back from those type of situations, And we asked Coach Coleman about that, Lee, and this is what he had to say about it. Mike Molder, Friday main event here with Coach Brian Coleman, Summit. Coach, what was your take on the game, buddy?
They're very good defensively. They're a very good football team, back-to-back. So we knew they were going to be good. They were good.
I thought maybe the turnovers in the first half, you guys were staying right there with them.
Yeah.
You had 2 drives down in the red zone, fumble and the interception. I thought that was kind of tough to get back from that.
I think we did get inside at least the 20 a few times. Yeah. Didn't put it in, but we got to cash in on that. Maybe I should have ran the ball a little bit more, getting down in here and not trying to throw it so much and be cute. But hindsight. But I'm just so proud of the guys. It was a grind.
Hey, man, 9 years. It was this program 9 years old, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's a big accomplishment.
And what we're trying to build is a program. That's what we're trying to build is a football program. These guys, these seniors are going to be very remembered for getting here and fighting their tails off. It was a hard road to get here. We went through some good football teams on the road and ran into a really good one here.
What about the Wade guys, the Wade brothers, man? They've been the glue to this team this year, haven't they?
Yeah, they're competitors, man. Just to be sophomores, too, they don't act like it, but, they got good hearts. They were hurting tonight, too, so, glad we got them back next year.
I was proud of you, buddy. I consider you a good friend, man. I thought you did a heck of a job this year, and, man, hats off to the job you did. Next year, bright future for this team next year.
Yes, sir. I think so. We're a lot of sophomores on the offensive line, a lot of sophomores on defense. So, and then the twins are back. So, a lot of guys got some valuable experience.
Coach, go celebrate with your team. You lost this, but the season as a whole was a win.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Lee. That was Coach Coleman. I guess you could tell I kind of like that dude. He's I don't know. He's kind of like me, I guess, in a lot of ways, and kind of gel with him pretty good. Good guy.
He is, and he was exactly right. He fought through it on the road, You know, a lot of games getting to the championship game, and like you said, man, they showed up. I mean, the score's a bit misleading, I think. A couple turnovers in that red zone. That's
Yeah.
a different ball game. Stat line's the same, but that comes with experience. You know, I think that was the big difference. That's all.
And Lee, you look at the other side of the ball, Dakota Favre, man. We've been on this kid all year.
Amazing. He's an amazing player, man.
He's a hoss, man. He's had a really great game for him again. 216 yards, 16 of 21, 2 TDs. He was sacked 3 times, Lee. So they did get some pressure. Got some pressure on him, but he's a senior quarterback, a multi-year starter, and that's what you want when you get to these title games.
Well, the thing about Coach Rosser I like is if you look, he kind of meshes and molds his team to the type players that he has.
Right.
You know, what was it 4 years ago when he was in the title game? You know, he had a bowling ball running back, and I mean they just pounded you with that kid all game long, just pound. Well, this team's a little different, and he's able to coach that.
Yeah.
Very a testament to how good of a coach he is. Anybody gets a 5A squad out of East Tennessee to the title game, you know, 3 out of 4 years when you got West, Powell, South Doyle, all these 5A squads up there in that area. I mean, the guy can coach. It's just bottom line.
Tall, good-looking dude, too, man. If I died and come back, I'd like to come back looking like Coach Rosser.
Man, he's young, man.
He's young and athletic.
Vibrant. You know,
I didn't know what I couldn't remember what he looked like, but yeah, he's got it going on, man.
He does. Like I said,
smart.
Yes, sir. Very good coach. Very good coach.
If I die and come back, I'm gonna come back as Coach Rosser. That's my plan.
You'd have 3 rings.
There you go. But yeah, he's a good dude, Lee, and I really enjoyed meeting him, and we did catch up with him following the game, and here's what he had to say.
Molder Friday main event with Coach Rosser, Knox Central. Coach, what was your thoughts on the game?
Unbelievable game from top to finish. We knew that they were a good team. They had some unbelievable athletes over there. Just really proud of the way our guys played from top to finish. Man, execution was key. You know, we got a little bit of offensive jolt there in the beginning, which we haven't had in a while. So I was real happy to get that. And then our defense has been lights out all season. You know, I said it before, overlooked and disrespected. It is what it is. But after you win, nobody can take that away from you.
Coach, this senior class, 3 trips to the finals, back-to-back titles. Talk about this senior class and what they've meant to the program.
They do everything right off the field. So therefore, everything right happens for them on the field. You know, I'm completely in debt to those guys. I'm humbled and blessed to be their coach. I love seeing these faces right here. You know, not a lot of people get to finish their season here at the biggest stage. These guys got a chance to do it, and man, hats off to them, man.
I thought Braden Gaston had a heck of a game for you guys.
He's a heck of a player. A track guy, obviously, you can see he can fly. He got beat a couple of times early, but that's because he was peaking, you know. But good players make good plays, and anytime ball's in his hand, something's gonna happen.
Well, I don't know if you heard it or not, but I'm Friday main event. I've got a show that I do every week.
Okay.
I have coaches statewide. I want to get your phone number before we leave.
Yes, sir.
I want to interview you some during the season.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks,
yes,
Coach. Good job.
All right, Lee. Good dude, man. Good dude. He's very cordial, very friendly, very likable type person, I felt.
Well, you didn't preface that where you were asking for his phone number. You know, we didn't preface that we had 10
out of 12
coaches that were represented in the finals this year. We had them on our show this year.
Yes, we did. Brunetti and Rosser were the only two out of all the coaches that you'll see here on this show that hadn't already been on with us.
You want to go ahead and put it out there? They will be on next year.
They will be on next year.
That's right.
Hopefully. I never did get Coach Rosser. He had so much media getting interviews, I never did get his phone number. I'm sure I'll be able to get it somehow.
We can round it up.
Coach, if you're watching this, man, hit me up with that phone number on Twitter or something. But Lee, like I said, 5A, I didn't really know what to expect. Destin Wade did have 3 interceptions in that game. I'm sure that accounted for some of that margin of victory. But like I say, sophomore quarterback on the big stage, you're going to make mistakes. It happens. But it may not be the last time he's there.
Man, I'm going to tell you, it's a very good possibility they could make 2 more appearances.
Yeah.
They're sophomores up front on the line.
And Coach Coleman, he's always seemed to have a knack, and we kind of said this about Coach Wilson at Springfield. postseason, his team seemed to play really well.
He does.
That's a testament to him and his staff. They do a great job there. Well, Lee, are you? I got both the coaches, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we can roll on in to 2A because it's going to be a little bit longer segment because we do have multiple player interviews in 2A. It worked out that way. I don't know why it worked out that way. But for one thing, we had 2 Mr. Football winners.
That's right.
In that game, we tried to get both of those guys, and but that game there was another one, man. Lee, I think probably the best game we saw up there this weekend, I would say. What do you think?
I think so. You know, the 1A game was tight for 3 quarters. This one was, I think, tight for probably about 3 quarters.
Yeah. Well, you know, the start of the game, Peabody took that opening kickoff, marched right down the field, scored. Meggs went 3 and out, and Peabody's moving the ball again on the second possession, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this might get ugly. But I think the first of a couple of Vargas interceptions stopped that drive, and Coach Fitzgerald's team was able to come down and score, and I think that kind of relaxed them a little bit. I think they were a little that was their first time there.
A little tense up front.
Yeah, a little tense up front, a little bit of nerves, but once they got that turnover and they were able to score, it seemed to me like that kind of settled them down a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, and you know, Swofford, I think, you know, he was as advertised. We've seen him play a couple times. I knew what kind of kid he was, what kind of physical player he is, and you know, he comes out and answers pretty quick there in the first quarter and gets a touchdown, and then boom, right out of the the gate into the second quarter. Comes down, scores again, and they go up 16-7
right.
at the half, and we're like, woo.
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
That might be interesting.
Because we had picked Peabody all year.
Peabody all year.
And then if you look at the total yards, 347 for Peabody, 153 for Meggs, Lee. All up and down the stat line, it was dominated by Peabody. But that grit for Meggs County, that kept them in it, kept them in the game late. And, Coach Fitzgerald had a really good game plan, and he didn't deviate from that game plan. He stayed with it the whole game, and it almost worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he said, I think we were down, 20-16 there in the fourth quarter. So the margin, this is another game. The margin of victory didn't really indicate how close the game was, but hats off to him and his staff for staying the course. I felt like, they were that close to getting it done.
Oh, yeah, it was 20-16 with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
It was one score, one touchdown away.
And it's forced to go for it deep in their own
territory. And then, of course, Peabody wisely went ahead and put it away.
Yeah.
Scored and put it away. But, that was a pretty good game, buddy.
Yeah, Swofford, he was held to 77 yards, Lee, passing, and he had 87 yards on the ground. Had a total of 2 TDs rushing. They did sack him 3 times, so they did a pretty good job with Aaron Swofford. I mean, he's a tough kid to deal with, and defensively, I thought Peabody's coaching staff did a really good job preparing for Swofford.
I think they did too, because I think, we said Aaron's going to get his. And he did. He had 150 total all-purpose yards. But I think they did a real good job of taking everybody else away.
Right. That's true.
Took some of his weapons away. I know they took one of his good receivers. They pretty much took him out of the picture, bracketed him. And that's a good job from Coach Jacobs' game plan. But like you said, it was 2016 late. So good. It's a good game.
And we both talked to Coach Jacobs pregame, and he kind of slid a little information to you that we had a MCL pull for Dixon, and he was planning. The plan was to only go with him on offense, right?
That's correct.
And then of course I think they got down, that kind of went out the window, and we actually got an interview with Dixon. He was not going to be denied. He was going to go in that game one way or the other. Love that kid, man. Great kid.
Yes, sir.
So, Lee, let's go ahead and hear, first of all, what Coach Fitzgerald had to say following the game. Mike Molder here with Meggs County head coach Jason Fitzgerald. Coach, thoughts on the game?
It's a heck of a football game. That's what a state championship game is supposed to be, Ended up 2-score game, but we kind of had to go for it late in the game. It was 2016. They're the defending state champs, hadn't been beat, but my guys never backed down. We just couldn't finish it. Hopefully we'll get back and we can finish it, but just hats off to Peabody and hats off to my guys for the way they played this afternoon.
Coach, you guys went into the locker room with the lead. Was there anything they did different in the second half causing you guys any trouble?
No, we thought they'd come back out and run the football. We had to get some fits there in the second half, and it took us a couple drives to get those fits, but we, got a couple stops at the end and got the ball back, and then we had to do some things we didn't really want to do without running it. But, just hats off to them. They're a heck of a football team. Great year.
One of the best players I've ever watched personally, Aaron Swofford, last game for him. Talk about him for a minute.
I mean, he's once in a lifetime. The heart he has, the desire that he has, that goes along with the skill set that he has. What can you say? He's a once in a lifetime kind of football player.
You guys pretty stout coming back next year. We're going to be young.
We'll have some coming back, and the run we've been on, we want to continue that. And these guys know how to win and been through a lot of football games. And those guys that are coming up have got some talent. And, we just look forward to get starting with them again.
Coach, you had a tough path getting here, man, but you did a great job. Proud of you. Happy to call you a friend.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for all you do for high school football.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Bye, Molder.
I like Coach Fitzgerald.
He's about as down to earth as you're going to get.
He's a good one, man. And I tell you what, when one of them kids makes a mistake, he ain't bashful about getting in that rear end when they get to the sideline either.
No, he'll get on them and then turn right around and look at you and go, hey, think we should run this play or just to the guy, normal dude. Tell him a little bit about what he did down there.
Well, at South Pitt,
might not ought to let it out, but it was still funny.
Yeah, at South Pitt, he was giving me the plays before he ran them. Because it was a non-region game, and obviously they wanted to win, but I got a kick out of it. He was like, well, watch this. We're gonna run toss sweep here with and he was telling me exactly what was gonna happen, and I enjoyed that. But then he come over and he said, "What you seen him? You think we beat Trousdale? We think we beat Trousdale?" I said, "I don't know, Coach. Y'all look
you're
pretty darn
playing
good
South
to me."
Pitt right now. You might not be worried about that. What do you think about Trousdale, man?
He's just laid back, man. I really enjoy him. I like him, man. He's a good dude, and he loves his kid, loves his program.
Yes, he does.
He does a great job coaching, and we can say the same thing about the other side of the ball. And I'm going to go ahead and tell them this right here. Lee, I'm terrible about names, and it really bothers me that I am. I called Chad Watson Brad about 15 different times up at Gallatin, and for some reason with Shane Jacobs, I've got Sean stuck in my head, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you, when you see this interview, I introduce him as Sean Jacobs, but I do know the difference. I'm just not the smartest guy in the world, so thought I better preface that so everybody knows that, Lee. But he's what I was getting at is and you're a big fan of his. I think you even made the statement if you had a kid in that area, that'd be the one you'd want to have him, right?
That's the guy who he'd be playing for right there. I can tell you that right now, hands down. I like how he runs his program. I think he's a consummate professional. He demands excellence out of his kids on the field, and you can see it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, Peabody better do whatever they got to do because he's got to be a hot
commodity. Yeah.
Just for the simple fact of his knowledge, he's young, very bright. I just like Coach Jacobs. I just like him.
I'll tell you what he said to me after the game during the trophy presentation. I walked by him and I said, "Coach, made some good halftime adjustments there." And he said, "Yeah, I did every bit of that. All the other coaches, they just sitting over in the corner, wasn't doing anything. I made all of them adjustments on my own." Of course, it was tongue in cheek. He was trying. He's trying to be funny, yeah. But I like him, man. He's a good dude, and he's quite the opposite. He'll give all the credit to everybody else and not take it himself when he probably deserves a lot more credit than what he gets.
Yes, sir.
Well, Lee, let's hear what he had to say following that game. Back-to-back wins for Peabody.
Molder here with Peabody head coach Sean Jenkins. Coach, talk about the game, man.
Well, you know, it's tale of two halves, obviously. You know, we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. The first half was really disappointed. And, you know, how we played, you know, in spots in the first half. But, you know, I knew our guys would come out and play well in the second half. You know, we've not played that badly in two halves in a long time. And so we were due to play well in the second half, and really glad we did. Really proud of our seniors, the senior leadership. Those guys played so much football. You know, they weren't phased at all. We go into halftime, and those guys, you know, up 7, down 7, up 20, down 20. It's the same thing, those guys. So really proud of the way they responded.
Yeah, I thought probably turnovers were the key problem there in the first half. But like you said, I think having been here last year probably had a lot to do with what you saw in the locker room. But the whole plan seemed to be was control the time possession and run the ball in the second half. You guys were very effective at that.
Yeah, you know, we felt like the offensive line was an advantage for us coming into the game, and so that proved to be an advantage. We really wanted to try to lighten the box in the first half and throw the ball around a little bit. And, you know, Cooper had a bad throw there on I think our third possession maybe, and at halftime we said, man, we're just going to pound these guys. You know, Jarrell's a load to tackle, and so we've got some of those really heavy guys up front blocking, and then Jarrell coming in at 225, he's a load. So, you know, the adjustment at halftime was give number 4 the ball about 20 times, and so that was kind of what we did. I thought Coach Taylor did a great job continuing to keep them off balance with some formations and things we were doing, but just really proud of the way our guys played.
I think you told Lee before the game, Jarrell, he was a little banged up. Probably wasn't going to play both ways, but kind of changed the game plan a little, didn't you?
Yeah, we had to get him playing both ways. Yeah, he's too good to be on the sideline, and he didn't want to be on the sideline. He's over here driving me nuts. I said I'd rather him be on the field. He's over here driving me crazy, so we got him out there. So really proud of Jarrell. I'm glad that knee held up. We had some other injuries we came in with, and glad all those guys were able to hold up.
Well, I'm glad you alone made all those halftime adjustments. You didn't need any help from your staff.
I got the best staff in the world. Those guys do such a tremendous job. You know, they work their tails off, and I'm so proud of the guys with whom I have the opportunity to coach. They're really good coaches. They do a great job.
Coach, congratulations, man. Go enjoy this one.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Good dude right there, Lee.
Yes, sir.
We like him. He tells us all the time he's expecting us to come down there. We need to try to make that happen at some point this year. We were talking to Lee Hayes about that, matter of fact, Lee, and he was telling us the Milan game is the one that he would suggest it's Thursday night game, but it's at Milan. So, but we still may have to pencil that one in.
Milan got a new head coach too.
They do. So we may have to consider that one. I'd say next season as an option for us to head over that way. But we did, like I mentioned, Lee, we did get a chance to talk to some of the players. We had a couple of Mr. Football winners in this game, and one of them was Aaron Swofford, Meigs County. Caught up to him, Lee, and this is what he had to say following the game.
Mike Molder with Aaron Swofford, head coach here, or excuse me, quarterback. I'm used to talking to coaches, Aaron. I'm going to make you a coach. Aaron, Mr. Football last year, football runner-up this year, had a heck of a career, man. Talk about the game. What was your thoughts?
We were very confident going into halftime. We had came out playing our football. We were prepared for them. Sadly, they made some better halftime adjustments than we did. They came out and got the momentum early and made some plays on defense. They had some great players that did what they did, and for 3.5 quarters, or for 2.5 quarters in the second half, we couldn't get them stopped. And it's just football. There was going to be a winner and loser today. We're glad to be here. Maybe not the ending what we want, but just need to thank God for the blessing and the opportunity of being here.
Well, I'll tell you, Aaron, this is the second time Lee and I got to see you this year. We were at the South Pitt game. I think we might have been bringing you bad luck, man.
I guess
but
so.
you play really good, man. We love watching you play. What about Navy, man? You pretty excited to head up there?
Yeah, I'll be heading up there next June, I believe. Just going to do whatever I can to help them win, whether it means I'm sitting on the bench my freshman year or whether I'm playing 10, 12 games. So just whatever I can do to help them win and to keep continuing their prideful tradition and their program.
Well, you play with a lot of heart and a lot of old school grit, man, and we appreciate what you play.
Thanks, sir.
He talks a lot older, doesn't he, Lee? He's very mature, I think, for his age, he seems.
Pretty interesting here with these interviews because Aaron Swofford is going to Annapolis to the Navy to play football, and then you're about to talk here just in a few minutes. You get an interview with a kid who's going to Army.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to both coaches because it's not easy to get into West Point, and it ain't easy to get into the Navy in Annapolis. So
you got to have the academics and the skill to do that,
and the character.
Right.
And these guys have got it. So that just tells you about these two coaches right here that were facing each other.
Yeah, I agree. The kids are kind of extension of these guys, and of course that was last year's Mr. Football winner. Lee, we did get Cooper Vargas on this year's Mr. Football winner, and this is what he had to say.
Mike Molder, Friday main event with Mr. Football winner, Cooper Vargas, now state champion 2 times. How did this game go, man? About like you expected?
Yes, sir. It kind of went like Riverside game. In the first half, I didn't play good, and that's fine. And then in the second half, I turned it loose, and that's why we won.
Well, second half, man, you guys went more to the run game, had a few issues in the passing game early. I think your coach said you made a couple of errant throws, but that's not normal for you, man. But second half game, you guys really dominated.
Yes, sir. I mean, that happens. Every football team, every quarterback has some type of games. It's just coming out of halftime and saying, all right, let's go. It's a new game. Let's go.
What was it like in the locker room? You guys panicked or pretty relaxed?
No, it was like a library. We were just all chill because we've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And, we came out here and we all knew that we were the better football team, and all we had to do was just get it together and just go. And that's what we did.
Well, we enjoyed watching you play the last couple of years. Good. Do you know where you went to college yet?
Oh, no, sir. I don't know yet.
Don't know yet.
No,
you got any place, any offers?
I do have offers with small colleges, though, but I mean, ain't nothing wrong with
Holding
that.
out for something bigger?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Congrats, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Mike Molder, Friday.
Another good young man, Lee Cooper Vargas, very talented kid. He can sling it, man. I like seeing a lefty can sling it.
He's loose too. You could tell in his interview. He's like, I didn't play very good in the first half. But that's all right.
He don't let much get to him, does he?
He's a pretty loose kid. But I tell you what, that's another young man that's blessed to even be playing.
Yeah.
He was involved in a terrible, terrible car wreck, year before?
I think it was prior to last season.
Prior to last season, they weren't even sure he was even going to be able to play again.
Right. Yeah.
And here he stands, won Mr. Football this year, and he's got 2 titles under his belt. So
that's awesome.
Tells you a little bit about him.
He's a good kid. A lot of good kids on both of those sidelines, but we did catch up with the Blue Cross Bowl MVP
of the 2A game.
That was Jarrell Dixon. He was with
Jones.
I'm sorry.
Right.
What was this?
Alan Jones.
I'm sorry, Lee.
Which we got him in there because if kids or people that weren't at the game, his stats don't look that good, but that guy defensively was playing lights out. I mean, he was in the backfield the whole game.
Good ball player, absolutely. Here's those 2 kids, Lee.
Friday main event here with the MVP. Mr. Jones had a big game as well. What do you guys think about the game?
Man, it was incredible. We knew when we were down 16-7, we've been there before, and we were shooting ourselves in the foot that first half. We was driving the ball. We knew it was a one-man show, so we came out and just held our composure and stood our ground and just tried to fight. We had 24 minutes left, and that's what we had to do.
And you was a little banged up coming in.
Yes, sir,
I don't think the plan was to go both ways,
no,
but
it wasn't.
You couldn't sit over, could you?
No, sir. Last game as a senior, everything's at stake, so I just had to put that aside and not even think about it. I had an MCL sprain last week against Riverside, so yes, sir.
What about this young fella here?
Great.
What was your thoughts on this one?
Oh, man. First half, we kind of struggled a little bit, but going into the locker room, coach told us it'll be hard. And we knew it would be hard. We still had a chance to come back. Second half, we did it. We came back. Yes, sir.
Jarrell, where are you going to play next year?
I'm going to Army West Point.
Army
yes,
West
sir.
Point.
Yes,
Good
sir.
deal. Pretty excited about
yes,
that,
sir,
I guess.
I am. Yes, sir.
Well, you guys had a great career, man. Appreciate y'all talking to us.
Yes, sir. You have a good.
Friday main event here with Lee. That's a couple of good kids right there, man. I like I said at the start of the show, man, we need to try to make that priority next year to get more of the kids on. Unfortunately, when they come off the field, they're usually flogged by all the media. And I understand why. They're more, no offense, coaches, but they're more entertaining to talk to. So I guess they're trying to help the ratings getting the kids over there. You never know what's going to come out of the kid's mouth, and they're waiting for that diamond in the rough, I guess. But we definitely need to make that a priority next year, try to get more kids involved in these interviews. But
Dixon had a ball game, man.
He did, man. He had 156 yards rushing, had a TD. He was the difference in the second half, no doubt.
Yeah.
But great win for Peabody, back to back, and congrats to Coach Sean. I'm kidding. Shane Jacobs and his staff. A great job there. All right, Lee. Let's move on into the 4A as we're wrapping things up here. And the 4A was a matchup between Springfield and Elizabethton. And I forgot to tell you, man. I was talking to one of the guys from Elizabethton there, and they said, "Tell Lee Teat we figured that kryptonite out this year."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the truth is they did.
Yeah, they did. And we're talking about Greenville. Lee made the statement about midway through the season. I think it was prior to their matchup in the regular season that what'd you say? Greenville is
Greenville's been Elizabethton's kryptonite for the last 3 or 4 years. I think if they could have gotten past Greenville in the playoffs the last 3 or 4 years, they're a state championship team.
I agree.
And they got past it this year. What do? They get down there and they win it.
And dominated
the game.
Lee didn't even surrender a first down in the first half. That defense was just lights out. Really impressed with their play. And then the kid coming in that we had heard so much about and we had pushed him so hard, Bryson Rollins, set a Blue Cross Bowl record for a completion percentage, over 90% completions in that game, 11 of 12, 105 yards. He also rushed for 153 yards. He was the definition of a dual threat quarterback.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got all the intangibles. But he had some players around him.
He did, no doubt.
He had some good, solid players around him, and I was very impressed with the, Elizabethton's line play.
Yeah.
Up front on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, I was too. And Cade Maupin, another kid, Lee, had a huge game for him, 81 yards rushing. He had 2 TDs. Those 2 kids were all the offense they needed. It was a very impressive output in that game, I thought. 30-6 was the final in this game.
Yep, Troy Hughes, number 7, he's a specimen.
Yeah.
That wide receiver.
Yeah.
Just a junior, 6'2", 195.
He's a ball player. It's
yes,
7
sir.
catches, Lee, 50 yards. And then Hartley had the only TD reception in the game. Very, very impressive football team. And I think, I know Rollins, I think, is a sophomore. And, I told Coach Witten, you guys might as well go ahead and start the Mr. Football campaign now for that kid. He's a real deal, man.
He is.
He's as good as advertised.
Physical, too, big, kind of stronger looking kid, physical.
Yeah. It was. I really felt sorry for Springfield because Lee. They were, as kind of like Coach said, man. They were 2 plays away from tying that game up in the first half. They were in, despite the fact they didn't have any first downs. Elizabethton just couldn't put that knockout punch in and let them hang around. And you just kept thinking to yourself, man, if they don't put this game away, Springfield's going to find a way to fight back into it. And then they had a huge mistake there. I think it was in the first half, Lee, if you'll remember. They punted, Elizabethton punted the ball and they downed it around the 1-yard line. And I hope I'm remembering this situation right. It was a penalty, so they re-kicked.
They did, and it hit the kid.
Yeah, Hudson. It was actually Kevontae Hudson that was back deep to receive the punt. And I don't know what was going through his head. I got to believe it almost looked as if he got confused and he was on punt coverage. It's like he was trying to keep the ball in the end zone. I don't know what he was doing. It may have been a factor where it got down on the 1-yard line. The last play, he didn't want to get it down. I'm not sure what. You never know what's going through a kid's head. But he was standing on like the 4 or 5 yard line, and the punt bounced up, hit him in the chest, bounced forward. Elizabethton jumps on it, goes in for another score. That may have been the first of the second half, Lee. I don't remember for sure. I think it was the start of the second half. So my thinking was, they get a score here, they got a little momentum, they got to stop, and then we got a ball game. But that was a really tough place in the game for that to happen. I hated it for Hudson. I mean, he just had a mental mistake, and kids are going to do that. And but that was, to me, that was a big point in the game right there. But Springfield had a heck of a season. That's kind of like I told Coach Wilson. You guys started out really bad, and I talked to an official that talked to him that said we're not even going to make the playoffs this year. That was kind of the thought in Springfield to start the season. And then they go on that 7-game win streak, Lee, and get all the way to finals. So, to me, if you're a Yellow Jacket, you got to be tickled to death with how the season turned out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, defensively, they played, Elizabeth had been putting up numbers on everybody.
Right.
There was defensively, I thought they played good. Like I said, Elizabeth didn't score on anybody.
Yeah.
Big points.
Big points.
So I thought defensively, Springfield, they just couldn't generate offense, and I think that's kind of been their MO all year.
Right.
Struggle a little bit getting offensive firepower going, but rely on a good, solid defense and hang around in ball games and win them late, just like they did at Haywood. Hang around, come out 17-14. But kudos to the Yellow Jackets, because I don't think anybody in the state saw them going.
I can't, Coach Wilson talking about him, man, I can't figure that dude out. I would put him, if I had a World Series of Poker entry, I'd probably put Coach Wilson in there. I can't figure him out. One time, like I went to him in the pregame, and he didn't really have much to say, and I'm thinking, he really don't like us.
Yeah.
and then I see him after the games. When are you guys gonna come up to our fields?
Well, pregame he was probably
he was focused. Yeah, no doubt. But I was like, I can't read this guy. I don't know if he likes us or if he don't like us. And then he kind of left us with a, well, when you guys come to Springfield? I'm like, okay, all right, he does like us, but he's a good dude, man. He loves his team. He loves his school. And
yeah, dude, he's a Yellow Jacket.
He's a Yellow Jacket through and through. And he told me before the game, he said, I'm not going to get emotional this year, but he was borderline. He almost got a little emotional there when he gets to talking about his seniors, man. And most coaches that way. We saw the same thing with Derek Hunt in the 6A. They realize this is the last time they're going to be on the field with those seniors, and it is an emotional moment. I remember when my son played his last game. I'm sure you do too. It's hard on us as parents. It's probably a whole lot harder on those coaches because they're with them every day.
There's so much time invested, and they get these kids as freshmen, most of them, and like kids to you, man, like your own sons.
Yeah. Well, here's what Coach Wilson had to say following the game. All right, Molder Friday main event here with Coach Wilson. Coach, general thoughts on the game?
Good football game, good football team, two good football teams. I think you look at two coaching staffs that ask their kids to take away what they do, and we got out there and got after it. You take away their run, and they had to do the same thing against us, and they was throwing some little underneath passes, and stuff like that to 7 and getting the edge a little bit in the first half, but we go in there, we're 2 plays away from tying the game up or being in the game, and the second half we get a little mo out of a big shot play like that to Gabe, and I think the statement of Springfield is the stop when you're down by 3 scores, and you see that bunch fight down there with a foot.
Yeah.
They don't care about the game or the results. They care about showing you who we are, and that's the stamp. I just wish we had different results.
I don't want to really focus on the negative, because if you look at the season as a whole, Coach, you kind of got off to a slow start. This team put together a 7-win run. Everybody had wrote you guys off, and then
good.
And you're young. You know what I'm saying? That's the good part about it. You look, you got Junior Kelly, you got Hudson Jr. You see all these Keyshawn Robertson sophomore. You got a lot of young talent coming back. You got to be happy about that.
Yeah, it's hard to start talking about them already.
Right.
Because I want to hug and love on my seniors the Springfield High School seniors that just left. But I think it says 2 things. Number one is the resiliency about that group of 9 that just left, and how much they wanted to lead, and just the leadership. And now you can talk about the youth and what they just left, the sophomores, the 5 juniors on the offensive line. You've got some work to do in the linebacker core next year, because 3 of them were strong seniors. And, but there's some people coming back. And
those seniors you talked about, they made these younger guys better.
Oh, absolutely. They make me better. So you don't talk about a younger guy. When a kid that don't have a daddy, he walks off the field and tells me he loves me, Coach.
Got to get you on it. Let's get me. It wasn't even me.
Stuff to talk about. But they're fine kids.
Yeah.
Practice will be different. It's just high school sports, man. Now you got to transition into being a buddy and just hope they don't ever forget you. And, great senior leadership, great senior kids. But yeah, once we get done reflecting on 19, we'll get back after it and we'll have some kids.
Well, Lee and I have been bragging on you, man. If it comes to postseason, you're my guy. I mean, you always get your teams ready to play, and we enjoy talking to you, man. Appreciate what you do for Springfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank y'all for talking about Springfield. Come our way sometime.
We'll do it, man. We'll do it. Thanks for inviting me. Hey, Molder, Friday minute.
All right, Lee. He got a little emotional, but he held it together pretty good. But I mean, that just shows how big a heart he's got. He's a good dude, man.
Well, like you said too, man, it somehow, some way, he gets them there.
He does.
Somehow, some
every
way.
year they're semifinals. What, 3 or 4 years in a row?
Somehow, some way, no matter what kind of talent, what kind of
what he
size,
lost last year.
I mean, you go out there and look, and you're like, what? Start of the season, then playoff time rolls around, and here you go, Springfield.
Yep.
I mean, so hey, he does it.
I thought after the loss of that Marshall County game, pretty convincing. I was like, well, you know, they're not going to get there this year. I'm sitting there thinking, but they did. They
got it.
I thought at the time, you know, before that game, I said, wouldn't it be great if these guys made it all the way back to the title game? And I really thought at the time probably Marshall County had a better chance of that happening in Springfield. But like you said, here he is. So great job as always by Coach Wilson. But you gotta give a lot of credit to our other head coach, Lee, Sean Witten. Man, that Elizabeth squad we talked about a little earlier, excellent. Sean Witten, he's another guy. He loves his kids. It's very obvious, you know, the way he interacts with them. They're very close, very tight. That's one thing I felt these two coaches had in common, man. They really love their kids, and it's very apparent.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. But like I said, Coach Witten, he's had the quality squads to get this done for a while.
Yeah, but you know, had that roadblock Greenville, right?
Well, I mean, you think
Anderson County,
Greenville, Elizabeth. There's a lot of solid 4A squads up in that area.
That side of you're right, Lee. That side that stayed in 4A traditionally a lot stronger, and you know, this year I think that was the case as well.
I think so.
And let's hear what Coach Witten had to say following the game, Lee.
Coach Witten, Mike Molder here. Give us general thoughts on the game.
Outstanding defensive performance. You know, really had a chance to put it away early and didn't. Our defense was just amazing today. There were 50 yards of offense in the first half. We held them to. They're a good football team. They played us really good defensively, but we had a good feeling that, you know, today was going to be our day and nothing was going to stop us this season.
Talking about defenses, your defense, man. No, I don't think there's any first downs first half. They only had 2 for the game.
They gave us great field position. Our defense was stellar today. We did a great job of just putting a lot of pressure on Hudson and pinning them in, not letting them get to the outside. But this was a total team effort today. You know, it's crazy how your team kind of takes full circle. You know, our offense really exploded the first part of the season, and the second half, our defense has put up some amazing performances.
Talking about amazing performance, Bryce Rollins, sophomore. Can we start the Mr. Football campaign now?
Well, you know, just he's blessed with a great supporting cast. You know, we try to get Cade going early, and that wasn't working, and we try to come back with Bryson. They were doing a great job with their outside linebackers. We tried to throw some quick game. We kind of settled down a little bit. We didn't close it the way we wanted to in some situations, but he's been our leader all year long, and he's done a great job of making plays with his feet. He's got something you can't coach, and our kids believe in him. They followed him all year long. He kept us boys. I tell you what, the best thing about our football team is they challenged me to be a better coach, to be a better person this year, and you know, on behalf of our team and our community and our school, this one's for everybody in Elizabethton.
Coach, this senior class led by Cade Moppin, probably the most stellar senior class ever at the school. Talk about them in general.
Well, when you just have 11 seniors, you got a young football team, but these guys really believed in the process all the way through. A lot of our seniors play in the trenches. You know, we got 5 senior defensive linemen, 1 senior kicker, a senior receiver. You know, Moppin gave us a confidence boost when he came to us. You know, he's outperformed in every football game. He's gotten better each week. You know, unfortunately, we had Cameron Trim that got hurt early in the year that didn't get to finish it. But, you know, it's spectacular performances by a lot of our guys. We're here because we had 11 seniors that believed in the process. process. They put in the work. Greenville challenged us to get better over the years. You know, we try to copycat that formula in order to get here. You got to be able to be tough, physical, tenacious, be disciplined. And the biggest feeling for our guys is we did it the right way this year. You know, we had to earn every bit of it. And today we proved that we're the best team in 4A.
Absolutely. Coach, great year. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Coach Whitten, Mike Molder here.
Lee, I don't think anybody could argue that fact. Best team in 4A this year, no doubt.
No doubt.
You agree with that?
Absolutely. You know, that's pretty cool, too, about Rollins. You know, didn't even play quarterback the first game.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan. Well, remember, we had him on earlier in the year, and he told us that he was just too good a talent to not put there. It proved to be the move of the year.
Yeah, he said, I need a player and need a quarterback, and I think they had Bryson at the tailback spot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I want to say Moppin started. Is that I can't remember for sure.
Maybe.
That first game.
He switched it around, man. What a call.
Turned out to be a great move.
Yes, sir.
Well, again, man, congrats to both those coaches, Coach Wilson and Coach Whitten. I think those teams will be deep runs again next year, Lee.
Both will be solid again.
Potentially a rematch like we've had in a couple other classes. They got a lot of kids coming back, so I think they'll make a deep run. Lee, we're here, man. We're here to the finale, and that's the big Maryville Rebel win over Ravenwood. We thought going into the weekend this would be the game. We didn't.
I did, man. I thought that I had actually said who has the ball last
would win.
May win this game, and boy was I wrong.
Well, we'd heard the Maryville defense, but I guess until you see it, you just don't realize how good it is.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I've seen a bunch of football, That Alcoa defense is about one of the better ones I've ever seen. But Maryville's closing speed on defense, I don't think I've seen anybody that fast closing up there in a long time.
Yeah.
They closed, like there was gaps and holes, and next thing you know, it's not there. I mean, they're phenomenally quick.
You remember we talked to Creasy Friday night, Lee, and that was one thing he brought up. He said Alcoa's always been big on defense, gritty, tough, but they've never been
Maryville.
Maryville, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. But they've never been as athletic on that side of the ball as they are this year. And Coach Creasy said that was the difference in this squad and past Maryville squads. Very athletic on the defensive side of the ball.
Man, they close quick, man. And I mean, a lot of one-on-one tackles being made. You think, man, this guy's going to get 10, 12 yards, and you look up, and it's a 2-yard gain. Some guy comes out of nowhere just splashing. Man, that's a real legit defense.
Yeah, no doubt. And I thought Cade Chambers did a really good job.
Yes,
Lee,
he did.
He had 76 yards rushing, 2 TDs, and then he threw for 172 and another 2 TDs. I thought he did a phenomenal job of handling the game.
He did.
Time of possession was in Maryville's favor, I think. Total yardage, all the stats. It was Maryville, and he, along with T, I think had a lot to do with that. Also, A.J. Davis had a big game for him. I thought he was very impressed. 114 yards, 1 TD. But T. Hodge, I saw him at the game late. I come up, give him a big hug. I said, brother, I can't wait to see you up on the hill next year.
Average 6.6 yards a carry. He is a physical specimen.
He can get the tough yards, too.
He can. And I tell you what, a lot of people don't know is that kid has battled turf toe off and on all year long.
Yeah, last 2 years. Yeah, that was what knocked him out last year.
And I don't know that he's been 100%
until now.
Till now, healthy. But man, he is such a physical specimen. I mean, he's a good-looking athlete, and I think his body's built durable. He can get his turf toe and stuff took care of, and they will.
Yeah.
He's got a durable build to him.
Absolutely. He's put on weight, and I'm talking good weight.
Oh, he's 230.
Easy, and he's solid as a rock, man.
And
like I told him, I was very happy he was headed up our way.
But I there again, in this game, as we always talk about, Maryville staff, their coaches, I think they're some of the best at game planning.
Yeah.
A team, and they took away things that Raven would like to do.
Right.
And I think they exposed some things that people haven't done to Ravenwood on the offensive side of the ball. I know I was talking to Elijah. He came over and watched the game, and he was talking about some things that he was seeing in the game, and he's like, Maryville is doing a real good job here. And watch, and sure enough, here we go,
Yeah.
And I think
that kid needs to be coaching somewhere.
I think, he sees stuff.
He does. He's got a good vision for the field.
But he and I think Maryville, they exposed a few things maybe that Ravenwood hadn't seen, or they threw some wrinkles at them.
Right.
But I did not see. I mean, the score was final score is a little bit misleading.
Right.
I mean, it was pretty rough there, man. 42-7 there.
Yeah, he had a quick clock. He had a quick clock for most of the fourth quarter, Lee, if you'll remember. I had a couple of people say, well, why in the world did Maryville go for 2 when it was up 40-7? I was like, they want to get that clock running.
Try to keep the clock rolling.
Absolutely. It wasn't a situation where it was trying to rub in the final score or anything. No. It was just smart on their part.
But on the other flip side of that, I thought Brenningstool for Ravenwood had a very good ball game. I think Garcia, ran for his life a lot.
Yeah.
But they took some things that he normally likes to do away.
Well, Brenningstool, they did keep him in check pretty good, Lee, till late. I think that TD was that, garbage TD at the end. So I thought they did a pretty good job on him. That was the big question mark up there. What do you do with the safeties as far as how do you cover Mason and how do you cover Brenningstool? Obviously, Maryville did their homework, man. They did a really good job on both of those kids.
Yeah, they went quarters coverage, and if you look a lot of the time in that game, they had 5 in the box, and every now and then they were sneaking the 6th man into the box. But I don't think anybody has played Ravenwood that way with quarters coverage and kind of moving them out and keeping Garcia contained. Keeping him in that.
They did do it. Yeah, they did a good job of that.
And so shout out to Maryville, but Ravenwood, man, those kids, they're going to be competitive every year. And they were there. I mean, what else can you say? You're in the title game.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like Alcoa. You going into the season, you're smarter to go ahead and put Maryville in a title game and then be surprised if you're not there. Right. As opposed to most teams, will it be the other way around? But Ravenwood's kind of getting that way. I think
so. That's what I'm saying.
I told Matt Daniels he's doing a really good job up there, man. They've gotten better. He's in his 3rd year there.
Every year.
They went to the quarterfinals 2 years ago, semifinals last year,
finals
this year. So he's improving every year, and I really like that dude. He's one. He had 2 top-notch young coaches. Both these guys are pretty young. At least they look very young. I know Hunt's young. I don't know how old Daniels is, but I would guess he's in the early 30s.
Yeah, early to mid-30s probably.
Yeah. But, 2 great coaches. Matter of fact, Lee, we need to hear what Coach Daniels had to say following that game. Here's what he had to say. Light Molder Friday main event here with Ravenwood head coach Matt Daniels. Coach, what's your thoughts on the game?
It wasn't our normal Raptor style of football. We made some mistakes early. We did some things that we just couldn't bounce back from. You might be able to get away with that earlier in the year, but against a team like Maryville, they're going to take advantage of every little thing. And we got rattled, and we just weren't able to bounce back. We believe we're a better football team than what we showed tonight, and we were hoping that we could have put together a second half comeback, but we let it get away from us in that 3rd quarter. So, congratulations to Maryville. They're a great program, and we're going to keep pushing, man. We've got a lot of guys, that were part of this team tonight that are going to be hungry to get back here next year.
Talk about this senior class, Coach. They've advanced every year, man. Semifinals, quarterfinals, semifinals, now finals. Talk about them for a minute.
I can't say enough about our senior class. It's going to be very difficult, probably in all my years of coaching, to see a class like this. And that's character, that's in the classroom, and of course what they do on the football field. So they have set the bar high in terms of senior leaders and what you want out of a senior group. And that's why I feel so bad tonight, because I wanted it to end differently for them. But I told them this can't be the memory that lasts. You got to think of the season as a whole, and we went on a heck of a run there, especially last 5 or 6 weeks. So I know they're proud to be a Raptor, and they're ultimately going to be proud of this season. But tonight, it's going to sting for a little while.
I spoke to Coach Creasy last night about this Maryville defense. Were they as good as advertised?
Absolutely. You know, they're disciplined. They do some things to kind of mess with your blocking schemes early, and well coached, obviously. So, they're very, very good defense. Like I said, we made some mistakes and weren't able to bounce back, and a team like Maryville takes full advantage.
You had a great season, Coach. Appreciate you letting us be a part of it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
And Lee, that's one reason why I like Coach Daniel. He's a very classy guy, very respectful. Always give his opponents, you know, they're just, you know, he's a class act.
Well, and I'll tell you what, the kids love him. Student body loves him. But he talked about, you know, these kids' character and this senior class. I mean, he's got a kid who's going to Rice, which, you know, if you're not familiar with Rice is like trying to get into Vanderbilt or Duke.
Right.
I mean, that's a, you know, 34 ACT type school. You're not getting in there. It's hard to get into that school. And then he's got a couple of kids going to Duke.
Yep.
You know, so academically he's pushing them, and that's what you're after, you know.
Right. And Lee, we did catch up with Coach Hunt. I didn't hold him up too long. I didn't want to. I know he was wanting to celebrate with his seniors, so we did get a quick interview in with him, and here's what he had to say.
Light Molder Friday main event here with Coach Derek Hunt. Coach, quick thoughts on the game?
Team effort, cumulative effort. We've said it all year. We're going to go as our seniors go, and I think that held true tonight. Just they were motivated, played for each other. You know, I'm just so proud of them.
Speaking of seniors, man, I saw you with a big embrace of Cade Chambers back here. He had a heck of a game for you, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm going to miss that kid, man. He's a special kid, and I love him. I love all these kids. But Cade, you know, that's who I coach every day, and I'm going to miss him.
T. Hodge, another big game for him. A.J. Davis. Your seniors really showed up tonight.
No doubt. T was a grown man, you know, and they were giving us fits up front, and we got on the perimeter a couple times and then formationed them a little bit and hit one T's touchdown right there. And our seniors were really good tonight. Ain't no doubt about it.
Coach, I don't want to hold you up to your celebration. Go party with you guys.
I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
so
Coach.
much.
Thanks.
Great coach right there, Lee Teat. I think a lot of him, he's a high character guy as well.
Yes, sir.
His fan base loves him. You know, we got a lot of friends in the Liars Club bunch, and they were tickled to death when Hunt was hired to replace the legend coach George Quarles, and that's proven in the 2 of the last 3 years. The state titles continue to flow into Maryville over there, and he's a big reason why.
That was a wise decision on Maryville's part. He's young, vibrant, and he's also a rebel.
Through and through.
Through and through.
Yep.
And that's big in that, especially in that community. You know, those kids come up playing for the little rebs. They call them 5, 6, 7 years old all the way up. And, you know, Coach Hunt was a great hire. And it's, like you said, 2 out of the 3 last 3 years, he's got 2. He's young.
He's young, man. He's got everything they were looking for. And,
but like you said, that defense this year was a little different than I've ever seen. I think from them.
Little different makeup.
A little different.
And it proved to be the winning, recipe for Maryville this year was. I mean, you'd have to look at the program and say that defense gets a lot of credit for what they were able to do this year. But, not to take anything away from Cade and T and those guys offensively, but without that defense, man, who knows what would have happened.
That's right.
All right, Lee. Well, 2019 in the books. That's a wrap. We hope you guys enjoyed our TSSAA Blue Cross Bowl coverage recap. Lee and I, that's kind of our Super Bowl every year. We mark. That's the first thing we get our vacation schedule every year. That's the first date we schedule, isn't it, Lee?
That's right.
Matter of fact, when I checked out of my hotel this morning, I went on and booked it for next year. I said, give me the Thursday and Friday after Thanksgiving. I'll be up here again next year. We look forward to it, and appreciate Matthew Gillespie and all that bunch over at TSSAA taking care of us every year.
Oh, yeah, in the city of Cookeville, they do a very good job hosting.
I'll probably put 5 pounds on this weekend, Lee.
Yeah, they do.
And it looked like it in that camera. Oh Lord,
do a good job hosting, and then also thank our sponsors. You know, for the season.
Yeah, elaborate images. Marcia, appreciate her. All the shirts, hats, the hats
Man,
that everybody wants.
Oh man, they were wearing me out.
They
this
were,
weekend,
man.
Mike.
You folks got to realize that's costing us $15. You got to pony up some money. We're non-profit, man. I had at least, I'm like you, had about 20 people. Well, when you gonna give me one of them hats? Well, hell, I'd like to get everybody in the state one, but I can't afford it. So
that's right.
You need to check our commercials out. Get Marcia's contact info.
Yep.
We love you wearing it. We just can't afford to furnish it for everybody. But yeah, we appreciate Marcia Lee, and obviously Jim Thompson,
Yes,
Coach
sir.
T. I made a post today. I think Jim Thompson. We're, to my knowledge, we're the only media that's ever been tied directly to Coach T. I don't remember any other one. And I think he agreed to that, Lee, because he knows the reasoning behind what we do.
Yes.
We're not in this for us. We're in this for the kids and the coaches and the program. And I think Coach T recognizes that, and we appreciate him letting us tie our name to him, and for no other reason, give us a little more exposure.
That's right. And then also, I'd like to give a shout out to just basically the schools that let us come onto their field.
Absolutely.
They kind of give us the run, where we need to set up, and we're there from 4:30 to 6:30, and we've always had a good reception.
Never been turned down.
And a lot of good people we meet every Friday night, come up, shake our hands. That stuff kind of matters to me. I like that.
You are a little socialite. I agree with that.
I enjoy that kind of stuff, and then this weekend, like I said, kind of highlight for me. I could hear some funny stories, but we appreciate that, It makes it worthwhile. And shout out to the coaches, too. Very good.
They've been good to us, haven't they? Yeah. And I'd say pretty much everyone we've ever had, Lee, they'll tell us. And matter of fact, we had pretty much all of them yesterday and the day before. They appreciate what we do, and then we do what we do, but mainly because of them. We enjoy the interaction with those guys and appreciate them being receptive anytime we ask them to come on with us.
Yep.
All right, brother. Well, we're going to wrap it up.
I'm done, brother. I'm ready to roll.
You can hit the old thumbs up. Don't hit the thumbs down. We don't like them. We got a couple of them. hit the thumbs up if you like it. If you didn't like it, just don't hit anything. And,
if you want to get us something for Christmas, man, spread the word and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's all we need, man. If we can
need
get
more subscribers.
Need more subscribers. That's the only way Google can track the popularity of these channels. Is it's very demeaning to me when I see my 4-year-old granddaughter watching a video on YouTube of somebody playing with toys and they got 50,000 subscribers and we're sitting here around 460. Like, what are we doing wrong, man? What are we doing wrong? I think we're putting out a good product. So if you could help us out with that, man, it would be great. Subscribers always welcome. Lee, let's wrap it up, brother. 2019 in the books. We'll see you guys spring. We'll have a spring show out in 2020. We'll have our preseason top 10 out hopefully by April, May, somewhere around in there. So stay in touch with us. Social media, FridayMainEvent.com, Twitter, Tennessee Sports, and Friday Main Event on Facebook. We'll see you guys next season.